So Zach Polanski has already made an effect in a very positive way. A new poll has come out and put the Greens on 12%, which is their highest so far. The poll conducted by YouGov has them up 2 percentage points from the last poll, and this is double what they got in the last general election. Now, according to Stats for Lefties, this would mean the Greens would win Waveney Valley, which is Adrian Ramsey's seat, so they'll save that one. Brighton Pavilion, Sean Berry's seat, they'll keep that one. Bristol Central, that's Carla Denya's seat, they'll retain that seat too. Bristol East will be new. North Herefordshire is Ellie Chown's. Huddersfield and Bristol South would also be new, but they would also be within 5 points of winning Sheffield Central by 2%, or 2% short. Brighton Kemp Down, 3% short. Leeds Central, my constituency, 3% short. Manchester Rusholme, 4% short. And Bristol North East, 5% short. And I think we know why this is happening, because Zach is enacting his promise of bold leadership. He's cutting through, and he's making the Greens sound populist. This is what we all said. The policies are good from the party, but they needed to drop the briefcase leadership, be aggressive, take no shit. And it's not even been 2 weeks, and Zach has already made a difference, and he's barely warmed up. Now, he's been in the media a lot. I think he's done 61 interviews, but this clip is everything I wanted to hear in a left-wing leader.
Let's subsidise good behaviour rather than subsidising fossil fuel companies and oil and gas. And it's no coincidence that this Labour government took £4.1 million from Quadrature Capital. They're a hedge fund that have assets in oil and gas, arms trade and gambling companies. I think it points to why Keir Starmer and the Labour government are making so many terrible decisions. They're doing what they've been paid to by their vested interests. We live in one of the most nature-depleted countries in the world, and we've all got to care about nature. If nature collapses, we have nothing. At the same time, people know that about the Green Party. I don't need to keep repeating that. What people don't know about the Green Party is we want to lower your bills. We want to nationalise the water companies. We want to take on wealth and power in this country. And we want to make sure that we're working with trade unions so workers have proper pay, dignity at work and proper sick leave. I think all of these things shouldn't be put in opposition to each other, because actually it's the corporations who are destroying our environment, but they're also the same people or same companies who are destroying our democracy and destroying our communities. This is all part of the same system. I think what's different, though, is I don't always come at it straight away from an environmental lens. I come at it from a social justice lens, but the environment is absolutely wrapped up in that. There's no way we can tackle the problems facing our environment and tackling the planet unless we have a more equal society.
So that was everything neatly wrapped up into a short message. And I love that he said, I'm not just going to bang on about the environment. Now, obviously it's important, but they're called the Green Party. Everyone knows that, right? And he gets stuck in. He said the Greens want to lower your bills, tax the rich, take on the billionaires. He attacked the government, their donors, the owner class, talked about people's material conditions, and saving the planet. And he's building the message that all things need to work together, right? We've had the false narrative from the right-wing media that net zero or green energy is more expensive. It'll increase bills. Obviously, that's rubbish. That's just propaganda from the oil companies. But there has been a perception that caring about the environment would come at a personal cost or personal sacrifice, which is a story that needs to be defeated. And I remember during the Green Party leadership, Ellie Chown's and Adrian Ramsey were saying it's really important that the leadership needs to be an MP. And I always thought the reverse is true. I actually think it's beneficial that Zach isn't an MP because the others can focus on the day-to-day stuff in Parliament, whereas Zach can go out and campaign. And he's already had time to do things like going to Nigel Farage's constituency in Clacton and do the radical idea of talking to people.
What do you think about companies who fire people and then hire them back at a lower wage?
That's disrespectful.
It's disgusting.
It's despicable. If you've got the money, you should spread it around.
Can I ask you what you think about 0 hours contracts with no guaranteed pay?
Yeah, I don't like that either. Disgusting because employers take advantage of it.
I don't think it's fair.
And who do you think does support fire and rehire and 0 hours contracts?
I'd say some of the big corporations.
The government.
What if I told you Nigel Farage?
Shame on him.
It's Nigel Farage.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that doesn't surprise me, to be honest.
No, I didn't know that. I voted for him.
Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it does a little bit.
It would surprise me, yeah, because I voted him in as well.
Disgusting, really. Now, he definitely ain't got my vote.
Since he's been here, he hasn't done anything in Clacton, nothing at all.
Nigel Farage wants to take away workers' rights and distract us all by talking about stopping the boats.
Because that's what everybody wants him to say, and they're not looking at the bigger picture then, are they?
So do you think blaming immigrants is a distraction?
Yes.
Because actually that costs about £4 or £5 billion a year. But if we tax multimillionaires and billionaires properly, we could be raising about £25 billion.
That would make things so much easier.
I think we should be taxing multimillionaires and billionaires.
Yes, 100%.
And spend that money on building council homes, protecting our NHS, make sure that we're making the case for legal migration, and make sure we're investing in communities. What would you say to that?
That sounds like a very good plan.
Look, we are united on class issues. The majority on investment, higher taxes on the rich, nationalisation. Now, we are obviously divided on social and culture issues, which the corporate media intentionally inflame, by the way, because a united working class is a threat to the 1%. Now, the conventional wisdom is to join in on these attacks, attack immigrants and minorities, which is what Labour are doing. And guess what? It's not working very well for them, is it? The better message is that no matter who you are, where you're from, you're either working class or you're part of the 99%. And Zach is doing exactly that. It's a unifying message, which is why the establishment have already come after him. This is Quinton Letts. I didn't realise he was still relevant. Comparing Zach to Hannibal Lecter. His jagged, gap teeth had shades of Hannibal Lecter. Better watch out. So corporate pundit in the Daily Fail comparing Zach to a man who eats his opponents for breakfast. You're supposed to make him look bad. Now, Starmer has also attacked the Greens. Starmer then targeted the Green Party, stating there are plastic progressives on the other side too, and that there's nothing progressive about a Green Party that opposes green infrastructure, blocks house building, and wants to take us out of NATO. This is good, right? I like it when the media attack Zach and the Labour Party especially. It shows that Starmer is worried. And of course, he has to lie about the Green Party's positions. Zach has talked about building council houses, which Labour don't really want to do. And I also love Starmer's assumption that NATO is progressive. It's not. What a ridiculous thing to say. But again, Zach has said we should have a conversation about NATO. I think is really important, actually, our role in the world when it comes to military alliances, given that Trump is in the White House. But also we should have a conversation about NATO anyway. So this is really important. And Zach obviously didn't say we should just leave with no alternative. Comms is the biggest thing in politics today, right? Your policies can be bang on. In fact, when it comes to the policies of the Green Party, the majority of people agree with them on economic issues anyway. So why aren't they number one in the polls? Because policies in this political landscape doesn't really matter. Now, I saw this tweet about the Green Party's social media strategy and how it changed. Josh Housden said, the change in Green Party England Wales comms since Zach was elected has been like night and day, at least on Instagram. And what you can see is on the left, you've got Canva templates of slogans. But on the right, you have content. You've got videos. The leadership is visible. Before, Carla Denyer and Adrian Ramsey, they weren't really there, right? No one knew of them. But Zach's face is now everywhere. So it's working. In fact, this tweet from Zach, I think is very interesting. Google Trends rates UK search results for Zach Polanski at 5 to Keir Starmer's 17, meaning Polanski is generating roughly a third of the online interest as the current Prime Minister, despite commanding just 1% of the MPs. You'll love to see it. Now, it will be interesting to see what comes of your party. I like that there is mutual respect between Zach Polanski and Jeremy Corbyn. And if these two parties start dominating the headlines, they could pose a real challenge to reform and revive proper left-wing politics again. Remember that we have live shows 3 times per week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 p.m. discussing the latest political stories. We are trying to go full-time and grow this channel. You can support us by going to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. There you can support us monthly via Patreon, or there is another link to a one-off donation. Alternatively, you can become a YouTube member for just 99p. Remember to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon.